Hello, it's Noah Howard, and today I'm doing a rhetorical analysis on Guns and Ships from Hamilton the Musical. First, we'll go over the actors and singers, which would be David Diggs as Marquis de Lafayette, and I refer to him as Lafayette this whole time. We have Christopher Jackson as George Washington, and Leslie Odom Jr. as Aaron Burr. Okay, so now we'll go into the background and purpose of this song. It was written to show the impact that France had on the Revolutionary War to help America win, because we never could have won it by ourselves with the supplies we had and the amount of people we had. So Lafayette was a big part of contacting France because he was actually French. He contacted France, and we got guns, ships, gunpowder, all kinds of stuff to help us win the war. Basically, we never could have done it without them. And like one quote from the song that helps support this is, "I go to France for more funds, I come back with more guns and ships, and so the balance shifts," which shows that he gets guns and ships from the French, and the balance shifts in our favor. Next, we have the pathos in Guns and Ships. When Aaron Burr says, "An immigrant you know and love who's unafraid to step in," this is pathos because it shows like it's trying to get emotions, like you're supposed to love this character, you know this character, like it's getting you excited for what's about to happen. And then another example would be when Lafayette says, "You want to fight for your land back." It's pathos because he's trying to convince Washington to get Hamilton back into the war, because he kind of kicked him out, but he's trying to convince him to get him back into the war, because if we don't, then if we do, then you can get your land back, because he's obviously really smart. A lot of the last section of the song where Washington sings, like the letter that he's singing to Hamilton, that is a lot of pathos, because it's a lot of emotional, like troops are waiting in the field for you. If you join us right now, together we can turn the tides. That's like trying to get his emotions going so he'll return to the war and help them win. Next we have ethos. And when Aaron Burr says global superpower, it really that is ethos, because it's showing that Britain or England kind of has a power over everybody else, because they're a global superpower at that point in time. They still are, but they really were then. They were the global superpower. Every time Lafayette says "sir" is also ethos, because it's showing respect for Washington. Next we have the logos in Guns and Ships. When Lafayette says "ingenuitive and fluent in French," when he's talking about Alexander Hamilton to George Washington, he's trying to convince George Washington to let Hamilton back, showing by facts that we know that he's really fluent in French, and he's ingenuitive, so he's smart. So he would be a very good person to bring back to help him win the war. Next we have when Lafayette also says, "I go to France with more funds and come back with more guns." So the same quote, but that's also logos, because Lafayette really did, in the real world, contact the French and bring back guns, so that is a fact right there. Next we have the rhetorical devices. When Aaron Burr says, "How does a ragtag volunteer army in need of a shower somehow defeat a global superpower?" That's a rhetorical device, because it's a rhetorical question. It's not actually supposed to be answered. Next, Aaron Burr says, "How do we emerge victorious from the quagmire, leave the battlefield, waving Betsy Ross's flag higher?" The reason this is a rhetorical device, because it's a rhetorical question, one, but then it's also an allusion, because it's referring to something that really happened in the real world, like a history event. And then the last one I have is when Lafayette says, "I'm taking this horse by the reins." That is a metaphor, because he's taking not the war, but that battle of it would be almost Yorktown, but he's taking it by the reins. He's taking control. But yeah, that's about it for the rhetorical analysis over Guns and Ships. Thank you.